Welcome to the Guiding Brands podcast with your host and chief guide, Karen Vick. This is a podcast for service-based small businesses who want to get a handle on their marketing so they can attract and gain new customers. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Guiding Brands podcast. Today is a special day for me because the person that I'm going to be speaking with today has been in my world for a number of years. And we actually lost touch and then we found each other again earlier this year, or rather, she found me actually. And we've been working on some projects together. And I'm just so thrilled that she said yes to coming on the podcast. Today, I have Nicole Johnson, founder of Digital Made Simple, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I must say this off the bat, she was just named Who's Who in Black Charlotte just this past week. So, Nicole, thank you so much again for joining the podcast. And I'm not going to begin to even tell the world all the things that you do and have done. So I'm just gonna have you say it yourself. Yeah, thank you so much. So
Thank
yes.
you so much, Karen. It's great doing the podcast with you and great reconnecting with you this past year. So, yeah, I have quite a varied past. What I do today is very different than what I studied to do in college and what I spent most of my corporate career doing. So, when I went into the college world, I studied and I got a degree in chemical engineering. And also went on to get my MBA in strategic management and spent close to 20 years in corporate America and manufacturing and operations. But what I really loved doing in that time was, in terms of corporate America, was organizational change management, business strategy. So I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt. I've also got my ISO 9001 certification for quality. Also ended up getting my certified professional supply chain or certified supply chain professional, which has nothing, some would say, to do with what I actually run my business as, which is a digital marketing and branding and design strategist. So that's what I do, because I tell people chemical engineering was just a hobby. I'm really an artist.
Okay.
so so I think that my unique value proposition in doing, web design, branding, business development is that I can bring some of the operations and problem solving skills that I learned in my STEM background into helping people not just have a nice website to result or a nice logo to result, but a strong business platform for which those things are tools in. So that's what a little background on me.
Now you know. Now you know why I didn't. I had her do this, okay? Because
You would have done great.
she added some things that I didn't even know about. So it's okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm really happy that you're here today, especially to talk about this particular subject because when we started talking about you joining me on the podcast, the phrase one of the phrases you used was something that I wasn't really familiar with, believe it or not. I've been doing this for so long, but I've never heard the phrase,
Mhm.
and it just makes sense. And so, dear listeners, dear visitors, you're going to be hearing about knowledge commerce today.
Yes.
And so I said, yes, let's talk about that, So Nicole, tell us, what is knowledge commerce and why is it so important right now for entrepreneurs?
In the simplest form is monetizing your mind, monetizing your expertise, monetizing what it is that you've developed and grown, and in yourself, is capitalizing on what's in between your ears, essentially.
Mm,
So knowledge commerce is anything where you can develop either active or passive income in terms of, just talking about what you know and how, like, I just described my journey to becoming a digital marketing agency, and it had nothing to do with digital marketing for the most part. So I have a unique view on digital marketing from my journey. Everybody does. Everybody has a unique view on whatever it is their skill set is, whatever it is their expertise is. Anyone in any industry, in any market, which is why I love it so much, can have knowledge commerce revenue that they can bring into their business. And we'll go into, what
Yeah.
that means and what that looks like a little bit more, but essentially is monetizing what's in your brain and your journey.
Wow. Let's look at that. So essentially you're saying that anybody can actually do this because you all have skills. Everybody has some skill. Everybody has knowledge about something that somebody else out there doesn't know,
Right.
and so you're able to actually earn, from that, using it in that way. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. Instead of just giving it away, like, I did for so long.
Mhm.
So, how does knowledge commerce differ from traditional products or service based businesses? What, is this something that, and I guess I should ask, or preface this with, is knowledge commerce something that someone can actually make a living from? They say, eventually quit their 9 to 5 and say, do this. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first of all, you probably have seen knowledge commerce all around you and just didn't recognize it as that. Anytime you have participated in an online course. Now, first of all, let me say it this way. Knowledge commerce is I think a $5.2 billion industry.
Wow.
So yes, you can definitely make a living off of it. You see it in the form of online courses. You know plenty of people who do online courses. You know plenty of people who get on stage and talk to people about their experiences. The Tony Robbins, the Jan Levenzans, the Oprahs of the world have made multi-millions off of
Hmm.
just communicating and delivering some of their expertise and then developing products and services from it. So, what I also like to distinguish based on your question is what's the difference between a product and service and a
Hmm.
knowledge commerce, revenue generating or passive income. One, I think when a lot of times when I talk about knowledge commerce, I am talking about a passive income form of revenue generation. It's more about putting something out there that can sell itself while you sleep, right? Also, when you're talking about knowledge commerce, you're talking about any sort of industry. Now, when you're selling a particular product or a particular service, let's say you do nails, right? If you sell nails or do the service of doing nails, you have to be there present and that is the thing that you're selling, right? You're
Right.
selling nails. Now, with knowledge commerce, you can actually teach people how to do nails, right? And
Hmm.
then participate in the knowledge commerce industry. You could teach people. My niece crochets. She does the
Right.
most adorable crochets. If she ever pull together a class on how to, crochet all these little cute things, she could sell that in addition to the
Okay.
actual crochet figures that she sells. So it's kind of an addendum to anything that you want to do. And I can't imagine, I haven't thought of an industry yet that can't capitalize off of some sort of knowledge commerce offering.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, in fact, what we're doing right now,
Hmm.
be it not paid, this could actually be monetized at some point, So
Absolutely.
this is knowledge. Okay. And I also wanted to add to for the audience sake is that um, you may have joined a webinar. You
Hmm.
may have joined a group on
Hmm.
Facebook where people are sharing information. You may have paid to actually have access to that group.
Hmm.
That's a form of knowledge commerce. People are actually giving their knowledge to you in
Hmm.
exchange for, money.
Exactly.
Right.
I
Right.
think some of the most popular forms of knowledge commerce come in online courses,
Hmm.
masterminds, and mastermind groups or kind of like community
Hmm.
groups, podcasts,
Yeah.
ebooks.
Ebooks. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there was one more that I tend to market. I can't think of right this second, but yeah, all four of those are like the top four
Hmm.
forms of knowledge commerce that people can do.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you talk about the popular courses, types of products that you can actually that fit in this category. Which ones would you say have been the most effective? Have you, or does it really matter? It depends on what you're teaching, what you're sharing, right?
It
Yeah.
really does depend on what you're teaching, what you're sharing, and the people who most likely want to consume it and the way that they consume information, right?
Hmm.
Some people who are really kind of like the DIY type of people, if you know your audience is kind of a DIY type of audience, let's say that you do home improvement services,
Hmm.
right? And your audience really likes to consume your content because they like to get ideas so that they can do it themselves. So an online course would be better for that type of service provider than say a podcast because they're not looking to you to talk about, oh yeah,
Right.
building code is,
Right.
what do we think
Right.
about that?
Right. They want to do
But
so. Right.
exactly. But if
Hmm.
you're a coach, like a business coach or a life coach, then that may lend itself to a knowledge commerce service that's around podcasting. And the reason why I would say podcasting it even fits because you do have to actively be there to record the podcast, but the podcast lives beyond
Right.
your
Right.
your taping of it. And also you can kind of sell additional digital products off of that podcast. So you
Hmm.
might have a worksheet or, another little mini ebook or something like that that you can sell off of the
Hmm.
podcast
Hmm.
episode beyond that.
And in fact, there are actual podcasts right now that are
Hmm.
subscriber based,
Yeah.
So I know Wandery, I know HubSpot,
Hmm.
these studios actually do have paid subscription services. Apple now has that model built into their podcasting.
Exactly.
So, yeah, okay. So, and also, when you talk about courses, I wanted to bring this up to the audience too. Courses, you don't, it doesn't mean that you have to be there physically,
Exactly.
in person delivering the course every single time. You
Hmm.
can, that's one model. And then you can have what we call on demand, where
Correct.
you're pre-recorded, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with courses, you do have to put in a considerable amount of upfront work to prepare it, publish
Hmm.
it, etc. But then once that's done, it's basically set it and forget it.
I
It's
forget.
very
Hmm.
evergreen. There are so many very lucrative online businesses that are based on teaching you how to do online courses,
Hmm.
teaching you how to do podcasts.
Hmm.
And really, I'm hoping that people can go into the overall and kind of seek out the overall knowledge commerce space to see what options they can,
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of immerse themselves in. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you're just talking about always being there to do a live course, then yes, that is part of the knowledge commerce sphere, but it's live course and live teaching, right?
Hmm.
You're exchanging your time for money, whereas kind of like a done for you course or a DIY course or on demand course is something that you
Okay.
can make passive income from.
Yeah, yeah. And also, another component is having one-to-one
Hmm.
versus cohort based. So you can teach groups of people
Right.
versus, individuals, Okay. So, if someone came to you, if after this thing airs, this podcast airs, one of the guests says, I want to seek your services
Hmm.
to you know take advantage of this knowledge commerce service, right?
Hmm.
How would you help them? What are some of the things that you do to help them figure out what they could actually do? Because some people may not know what they want to teach,
Hmm.
or they may have an idea, but having talked to you, they may walk away with another idea, So, what do you do to actually get that out of them so that they know?
Yeah, so part of what I do is understand what their business model is and what their goals are. And so there's business development services that I provide that help them to develop the strategy for how they're going to accomplish this goal of tapping into the knowledge commerce market. And a little bit later, I'll tell you about a special offer that I have, particularly around online courses. But also, a lot of what we do in terms of really setting up your knowledge commerce offering for success is branding it, right?
Mhm.
But there's got to be that strategy behind it. But once you get it out there, people like to see a cohesive brand, a cohesive message, a cohesive look and feel, really understandable ways of laying out the information. Because some people think, well, I know this stuff, I can just put it on a slide and then people will consume it.
Mhm.
No, you really do want to have knowledge checkpoints. You really want to have some step by step ways of outlining and actionable steps that you can outline whatever you're trying to deliver. And you also want to have knowledge checks within, and you want to make sure that you're addressing every form of learning that there is. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, some people like to read. So I make sure that there's a sampling of each of the type of learning styles
Mm.
in a knowledge commerce product that people can take advantage of to cater to their particular ways that they like to consume information. So all
Mhm.
of those things, kind of positioning it and dressing it in a way that's authentic to your brand and really allows you to reach the people is part of the service. And then the last part of the service that I provide or can provide is the marketing of it. You can develop your whole knowledge commerce suite, but if you're not marketing it and attracting the right types of people to that offering, it's going to be really a struggle for you to really get it off the ground.
Sell it.
So you
Mhm.
have to have what is the whole other component of getting it out
Mhm.
there, which is the marketing piece. And that can include email marketing, that can include social media marketing, that can include influencer marketing, any sort of SEO, SEM through the website, those types of things we help with as well.
Okay. So, okay. So you got to get this thing packaged and put out there. But what do you? Where am I going to put this? Is it going to be on my website? Is it? Can you talk a little bit about how you actually deliver this?
It's interesting because as what seems to be known as our agency being a web design agency, I don't always suggest that you have to have a website. There are so many options to deliver knowledge commerce products without even having a website. It's
Mhm.
amazing. There are third-party online course
Platforms.
yeah, platforms such as Udemy, Teachable, things like
Mhm.
that. Those are kind of like third party hosted versus self hosted, which we also do, which is putting the actual course delivery right on your website.
Mhm.
Or there's social media marketing for it. It could exclusively reside on social media. If you're doing something like a podcast, then it's going to primarily be marketed through social media clips. If you're going to do a podcast, I always do recommend prioritizing video podcasts versus just audio podcasts because you can repurpose part of the
Right.
comments and clips in other platforms. But yeah, whatever the case may be, you're going to market it on some
Mhm.
social media channels and direct them to the podcast streaming source. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there's a variety of ways that you can market it. If it's an ebook, you might be utilizing Amazon services
I see.
to market and things like that. So it really, again, it depends on what you're offering, what your knowledge commerce offering is, as to how to market it and how to get it out there. And it's so nuanced between what the offering is, what medium you're going to be going through, and who your target audience is that kind of swirl together to help you identify how we're going to actually put it out there.
Okay, makes sense, and it makes sense, and sometimes publishing it on your website may not be the best thing for you because now you have to maintain a whole nother set of data and
Hmm.
material and all of this good stuff. When the platforms you mentioned, and there's so many out there now that can actually host these things and manage everything for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I remember working recently with someone who, they're twin sisters, and they have a consulting service, and they actually added a course component to it. And one of the things that they wanted to do, they wanted to ensure that they could actually have the student take the course, and it go through stages, because some platforms don't do that. So
Hmm.
you want to think of all of the things that you need, you know
Hmm.
um, automatic delivery of the next
Hmm.
section
Hmm.
of the course, grading, or that kind of thing, so there's a lot to think about there. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
also, the platform that you deliver it through may evolve over time. I might,
Mm,
depending on the client, I'm not saying that this is a general recommendation, but depending on the client and the offering, I might recommend they do the proof of concept through Teachable, or do the proof
mhm,
of concept through Udemy. See how it goes, see what kind of feedback they get, and then transition it to self-hosted on their website. But it
mhm,
depends. It depends,
mhm,
but it can also evolve over time. You can have just like a podcast and then start evolving that into digital downloads and digital worksheets and, things like that over time, that may be paid, or, kind of an entry level course. And
mhm.
it also can be a promotion to other of your signature offerings later
Right.
on.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways it can go.
Yeah, yeah. Could be a lead magnet of sort.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Okay. So, all right. We're all on the web, and we have the advantage of working in this space. So, I'm gonna pretend that I know nothing about this, right?
Okay.
You tell me I can make money from this. What do you mean? How much money can I make from this? $10, $100 if I were to sell a course. You know, um, what do you?
So
What's the potential?
the potential is unlimited. That
Okay,
that is really the answer to that. The potential is unlimited because we've seen the Lisa Nichols and become millionaires off of
Amy
strictly
Porterfield.
knowledge commons.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to depend on your brand awareness, like who knows you. Initially, when you are starting out, if you're relatively in the broad market of things, a relative unknown, then you can price your knowledge commerce product, if it's like or online course, at less than $100
Mm-hmm.
per
Mm-hmm.
subscription, right? Or per purchase of that course.
Mm-hmm.
You can evolve that into, and you can make a sizable income. Making, if you got 20 people to sign up for your course, then that's $2,000. If you
Right.
get that every month, that's $2,000 a month. That's a
Right.
sizable income. Um, at some point, I had signed up for an online course with a provider who provided information that I desperately needed, and then she evolved that into a subscription base, so you can have access to any of the new courses that came out. And I was paying $20 a month. Now you've got 100 people paying $20 a month, right?
Every month,
Every month,
whether they take the course or
on
not.
top of the 20 people who bought the one course. So now you're 4,000 a month, and
Right.
this can really be
Yeah.
lucrative with
Yeah.
very little overhead and a very small threshold of people to make it profitable.
An effort and effort on your pound. The,
Yeah,
the the
you put
the
the
effort is
effort
up
in.
front, up
You
front,
put the effort
right?
in one time up front, right?
Right, right,
Or one
right.
time for any particular course you're getting up
Yeah,
front, and then that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. Unless you're dealing with something relating to, maybe, say, technology that changes, that you're gonna have to
Mhm.
update. Yeah. Okay, makes
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well,
that's
I've witnessed it, and there are people out there that have my money as a result of me
They have
taking
plenty of my
courses.
money. Every time I look up, they show up on my screen. I'm giving them my money. I'm like, you're so
Right.
smart.
It's like the gym,
Yeah,
listen, they take our money, and we say, yeah, we're gonna go to the
yeah, I'm gonna
gym
do
every
it. I'm
month,
gonna do
and
it.
six
I'm gonna
months
sit
later
on
you're
this
looking
machine.
at it, it's like,
Ooh,
hold up, they're taking this money
ooh.
out of my
See, my
bank
sciatica
account.
started acting up, and then my shoulder got a little arthritis in it, and But I'm
Yeah,
gonna get them next year after Thanksgiving and after Christmas and after January. I'm gonna get
right.
them. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get up
but you're
in there. I'll
still
be all
paying.
healed
But
up.
you're still paying all
I'm
this
still
stuff.
paying though.
Still
They still got
paying.
my money.
So you mentioned some suggestions around marketing.
Hmm.
Can you maybe just do a brief outline of say you were going to market a 5 video sequence course, a mini course. We would call that a
Hmm.
mini course you know um, on web design.
Okay.
What are some of the things that we should be thinking about when we talk about marketing, beyond what you suggested before?
Okay. So I'm even going to give you kind of like the semi quasi bare bones
Right.
listing. And this semi quasi bare bones is going to sound like a lot. Okay.
Okay,
It's
get
going to
ready.
sound like a lot. So what I would recommend is you start 3 months before this course launches, right?
3 months. Okay.
At least 3 months. Probably recommended is 6 months, but we're going to give you the bare bones. At least 3 months. You
Hmm.
start building your list, giving people information of value that will allow them to understand that you have credibility and get them to sign up for your list, right?
Hmm.
Because you would love to market to a list of 500 to 1,000 people. Because if you're just starting out, now, if you've already got like brand recognition, then some of this is already done for you. But if you're just starting out, like you said, having no
Hmm.
knowledge, 3 to 6 months ahead of time, start building your list. Maybe you're doing a lead magnet or something like that, and you start building your list, providing real key value, real, significant value points from the course that
Okay.
you put there. Now, don't worry that these significant value points may, um, kind of
Make
take
you
away
look like
from your course.
you're giving away the course
It
content.
won't.
Yeah.
It won't.
Right.
I have literally given away step by step how to set up, say, Dipsado.
Hmm.
And that's how I got the most of my clients, because I tell them exactly what to do. I gave the whole farm away, and people will still call me like, yeah, you showed me exactly what to do, and I don't want to do
But
any of it.
none of it.
You do it, and I'll give you money to do it. And those are
Right.
free YouTube videos.
Right. Right.
So 3 to 6 months, build your list. Then once you're starting to get closer to your course being launched, you start to promote the course, right? And so as you're building your list and getting people exchanged for the money in that lead magnet or whatever they're exchanging you their email for, you put a call to action in that offering that says, hey, sign up to hear when my course drops,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Then you, as the week leading up to it, you might want to do a webinar, right? And you market to that 1,000 people that you just got on your list and tell them to market it. And you market on social media, you market everywhere. And so you got, 2 or 3 webinars that you can put on Evergreen for the couple weeks preceding your launch, to do a webinar that leads people to the course, gives them an offer that is cheaper than the course is normally going to be. So that
Hmm.
gets you some early bird adopters. Then you start marketing the course, right?
Hmm.
And then you start utilizing all the work that you've done and all the people who you've signed up and all the, the early adopters as people to give you feedback and provide like what do you call it? Um, referrals or
Referrals. Hmm.
testimonials. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Testimonials about engaging with you about the course and about whatever it is that, you want them to give you credibility for.
Hmm.
So you start marketing that, and then you continue to market the course periodically, like once or twice a week, taking even snippets from the course and posting that online saying, if you like what you hear here, sign up for the course and you'll really get the
Right.
information. And then you just continue to, once the big launch and the big push of the course is over, maybe you push it and launch it for 2 to 3 weeks. Then after that, it might be something that you do monthly, put out a call to
Hmm.
action to
Hmm.
sign up for the course.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Yeah. And I know, she says, yeah, that's it.
See?
Just
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
There's a process to this, we know, but no, that's a simple outline, and again, it depends on the size of the course, the length of the course,
Mm-hmm.
how you're going to deliver it,
Mm-hmm.
if it's a PDF, ebook, or
Mm-hmm.
a video series or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but it's good to think about, setting yourself up so that your audience knows that this is coming. You just show up one day and say, yeah, I'm going to launch a course tomorrow. You may not get any sales from it, especially if you're starting out. Yeah, you may have 1,000 people, 20,000 people, whatever, following you, but they need to know. You need to set them up. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
that's
one
great.
of the things that discourages people from entering into the knowledge commerce market
Mm-hmm.
is that they will say to me, well, I've tried it before. I've tried it
Mm-hmm.
before and it didn't work. Well, what did you do before? Well, I built this course and I took all this time building this course and I took a whole bunch of time building the course, making sure it's perfect. And I put it out there and I didn't get any
And
sales.
nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Well.
selling knowledge commerce is not what didn't work from you. How you tried to sell your knowledge commerce is what
Mm-hmm.
didn't work,
Right.
because the runway before you even get to mentioning the course is
Mm-hmm.
longer than what you actually took.
Right.
And that makes a difference. And that's why I like to help people with this, because then I can give them a sense of, well, based on this course and all the factors that you just said, you'll need this many emails in your automation. You'll need these topics in your automation. You need this kind of content creation. You need this kind of valuable content. You need this kind of just engaging content, just so people can know, like, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need, because you can't just have your whole feed be promotional, even in that
Exactly.
3 to 6
Yeah.
months ahead of time.
Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
to wrap it around your whole content
Yep.
strategy.
Yep.
So it makes a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And those of you that have been listening to the podcast have heard me talk about, the 80/20 rule. You don't just sell and hammer people over the head with this thing that you're selling. After a while, people get wary of that, and they think that all you're trying to do is sell. You're not trying
Mhm.
to help them in any way. So if you provide them with useful information, leading up to the time when you want to start promoting the course, and you can promote the course in between. There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. You just don't just hit them over the head all the time. So,
Exactly.
so Nicole, you've been doing this for a while, and do you have any examples that you can share? You don't have to name names if you don't
Mhm.
want to, but do you have any examples of people that have gone through this process with you of developing a course, selling their knowledge, and just some success stories that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, and not to name drop, but I did spend a considerable number of years, well, 4 years, working with Iyanla Van Zant when she was transitioning from being on television to basically being on an online
Hmm.
teacher, mastermind, instructor, things like that. I helped her through a good portion of that transition once
Nice.
her show was canceled. And it was very successful. Now she's doing a lot of great things in terms of, she's basically strictly knowledge commerce at this point. So we
Hmm.
did a lot of different online masterminds, and a lot of the things that she did was a mixture of in-person workshops and courses and live interaction, and a hybrid of online courses that
Okay.
you could take on your own. Some of her, and I also not just worked on her Ayanna Van Zant content, but she also has a nonprofit, Inner Visions, and I helped develop their overall course delivery for some of their they were
Materials.
actually certification courses
I
to
see.
get certified as different levels of spiritual advisor and spiritual coach and living. So it was really a big scale because
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
already, and even still, as a globally recognized celebrity, we still had to put in a lot of work to make sure that we gave people enough runway to understand that this offering is being had, this is what it's about, marketing it. It was no less the number of, automations and
Steps.
emails and steps that we
Mm-hmm.
had to go through to market her course as it is for a small business to market theirs. So I think it's a success story, and I think
Well,
she's
it is.
still
It
available.
definitely is. I
Yeah,
mean,
still
listen,
doing
you worked with her for a while and you ramped her up to where she is right now, right?
yeah,
With knowledge commerce. And oh geez, I had a thought and it just flew right out of my head.
I love that. I
Oh,
get that all the
jeez.
time. So we're twinning.
It's old age. Um, oh
My thoughts
boy.
have an escape
All
plan that
right.
they're
We're
always
gonna
running
yeah,
around.
we're gonna come back to it.
Okay.
We're gonna come back to it. But let me ask you this: do
Mhm,
you have an example of maybe a course that you sold yourself, or um, that was successful, or someone that you worked with, a small business, not somebody as big
mhm.
as Yana, that you could tell us
Yes,
about?
I do. So another lady who was formerly my business coach, she actually is now she's not as big. She's not a well, I think she's a superstar. I think all my clients are superstars, but
Right.
she is a behavioral therapist,
Mhm,
and she is an adjunct professor as well. She decided to put forth a course, and she was one of those people who I tried it before and it didn't work. We put forth a course on Udemy called Happier Thinking for High Achievers.
mhm,
So part of the reason why I felt this was a successful run was because I'm like her target audience, how,
okay.
and so, and I don't know in terms of showing examples, but I can show you kind of like some examples of what it ended up being. But we did a lot of work around developing and branding her offering to teach people who are high
Mhm,
achievers how to actually enjoy the time that you are achieving. It doesn't have to be a grind all the time. And here's some
mhm,
tools and techniques, not just from an emotional standpoint, but from a psychological and human behavior standpoint of tools and techniques you can use to kind of recalibrate yourself and be happier. So we included not just the course content, being that she's a professor, she liked to include a lot of research and evidentiary
mhm.
information, which would appeal to some of the people who are reading based learning. And then I even created animations to
Okay,
support the knowledge for people who are visual type of learners.
nice.
So, and then we packaged it in a highly branded uh, package that was beautiful and appealing to the eye. And then we put it up on Udemy to get kind of a proof of concept for it. So previously she put it out there, got absolutely no hits. And now she's got like a 20 to 30% increase
Nice.
of purchasers or people who consumed the course, and it was really great. It's still a slow start because there was a lot of this. She will admit this as well, resistance on the marketing leg of
Okay.
it.
I see. I see.
We
Okay.
did all this work to get this up there, and I kept pressing. Listen, we got to do the
Gotta
marketing
go.
piece.
You have to do them. Yeah.
What?
Okay. Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
part. That's the part. And so it could have been even
Yeah.
more. Who knows, depending on the
And
fact
and
that
and and to let the audience know too, sometimes you need to you need to determine what you determine to be a success. What do you
yeah.
deem as being success? It doesn't always have to be monetary. It could
Hmm.
be the fact that you're actually sharing this information with other people,
Exactly.
that you're helping someone. So you start out knowing what goals you want to meet before you put it out there. So but
Exactly.
that's cool. That's cool. Well, I can confess that I took one of the I took a course from a really popular um, person in this space who teaches
Hmm.
you how to build your own course, and I have yet. It's now 2 years, and I've yet to do this thing. So Yeah.
Listen, you and me
We're gonna be
both. I,
talking.
I didn't even take a course. I know how to do this, and I have a course that is in my head, and it is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
hard. It is hard. It is not easy. But when I say it's hard, it's not hard to do. It's hard to get past the emotional and mental barriers that we set
Yeah.
up for ourselves to
Hmm.
actually do it.
Yeah.
Because when you're really doing this and you're talking about really putting your knowledge out there, you are plagued with imposter syndrome,
Perfectionism.
striving for perfection. Exactly.
Hmm.
So it's just one of those things where you really have to um, get past a lot of what you are that's holding you back and your limiting beliefs in order to have the courage to put this stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Start.
Yeah, just
Just
start.
start. Just
Just
start.
start.
Just start. Okay. We're gonna be talking. Maybe we need to be accountability partners.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll
and
take that.
and overcoming these mindset challenges are, just one of the challenges that people have to face,
Yeah.
when they do decide to do this, because you might get all excited and say, yeah, I want to
Mhm.
do this course, and then when you realize the amount of work that you got to put into it, you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that.
Exactly.
I don't know if I have time.
And
So
here's the thing. It's not even whether or not you have time to do it. The intimidation comes from hearing it. Just hearing that there's these steps intimidates you enough. The step could be all you got to do is get up and walk out your front door. I got to do
mhm.
what? Every day? Yes, don't you
Yeah,
normally get up and
it's
walk out
true.
your front door?
It's
Yeah,
true.
but
It's
not for
true.
this. Why?
Well,
What are we
I
talking about?
guess I guess the thing is we need to put that carrot in front of us,
Yes,
that goal. What's the goal that you want
yes,
to reach? Look at that every day and say, okay, that's the goal I want to reach. If I don't take this step today, then I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to be any closer. What other
exactly.
challenges do you see, from entrepreneurs who want to do this? Is it
They
not just a
think it costs.
mindset? Yeah.
Yeah, they think, well, most everything is 100% mindset, but they think it costs more than it really does. There are a lot
Mm,
of free tools that you could utilize to help develop your course content or your ebook or things like that. With the advent of AI, a lot of people think us graphic designers and marketers and stuff like that are going to be thrown out of business because of AI, but I don't see that. I
I don't
embrace
see
it.
it.
At the end of the day, a lot of people don't know how to use the technology that's
Right.
available out there. So we can certainly help, but you can also use it
Yeah,
and
I
really
agree.
understanding kind of like what tools and techniques. The challenge also comes in just being unfamiliar with the terminology,
Right.
unfamiliar with um, email marketing. What does that mean?
Right.
Building a list. A
Hmm.
lot of people aren't familiar
Yeah.
with those
Lead
terms to even
magnet.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mailing
What's a
list. Yeah.
UX? What's UX? Uggs.
Yeah.
I got some Uggs, but I don't know what Uggs is. And so then just the fact that they're unfamiliar with the terminology makes the stuff that's behind it so much more intimidating. When
Hmm.
user experience, UX just means user experience. Like, how do people feel
Hmm.
about consuming your information? And you actually conduct user experience all the time whenever you go on a website and you see it's either easy to navigate or not easy to navigate.
Right.
That's your user experience, but they make it feel like it's so much more intimidating because they don't understand that, it is a thing and there's a term for it, and what do you have to do to, fulfill that term. And they think, oh, now I got to spend a whole bunch of money and I haven't made any money off of this. So who's going to pay me for all of this? And I got to build a whole website, and websites are expensive, and this is that expensive, and Teachable and all these services are expensive. Most of these third-party services are free to start with. They just take the money off the back end,
Right.
and this is
Right.
money that if you don't put it on Teachable, you will never have anyway.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So, but that's also why I say, okay, well, let's let it be, build up some cash flow through Teachable or Udemy or, all of these services, Skillshare and
Hmm.
things like that first. just so you can have some income in hand before you build it out on your own
Hmm.
website.
Yeah, and and I'll be sharing some of these, you know, tools and resources in the show notes so people can go and check them out, if you want to learn more. And Nicole's going to talk a little bit more about some of her offerings at the
Mhm.
towards the end. But sometimes it may mean that you go get some help,
Yes.
and it may just be that person who's just going to give you that push. You may have the
Hmm.
skills to go ahead and do it on your own. You just don't want to get intimidated by you know the process, because you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and how it looks and how it feels to people does make a difference. And so I was, I don't know when you were talking about other examples, if it would be okay to kind of show an image, kind of like a
Well,
example.
you could. I've never used a share screen on the podcast, but you'll be the first. Let's
Okay,
go.
so let's
There you
take it.
go.
So happier thinking for high achievers, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna see if we can share a screen, and it is going to be the entire screen, and it's going to be screen two. Okay, so this is what her course looked out like first.
Mm-hmm.
All the slides were kind of this kind of look and feel, but this was like the cover image
Right.
that you would see. We took it from this to this, right?
Mm.
And that type of aesthetic, that type of connection. Now, do people not know that they're taking her course, Heavier Thinking for Higher Achievers, with this image? Of course they do. They know it's by Denora Nieves.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right.
That's great. However, there is an emotion that is evoked
Mm-hmm.
from here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a connection to who I am and what I do. And I want to feel like this lady looks.
Right. Right.
And
See
so that's
yourself. You
what we
want the
do.
audience to see themselves in the yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
The animation was something that was unique and different. It wasn't just PowerPoint slides. It was
Mm-hmm.
her talking on video, and talking about what you should, feel and how you should,
Mm-hmm.
address some of your anxiety issues. Her speaking and showing her face lends to the credibility. Oftentimes the user who's consuming this doesn't know why they don't connect with it. They just know they don't connect with it. And then when they
Mm-hmm.
start connecting with it, they just know they connect with it. They can't explain to you, well, it's because you did not show up on the screen or because the cover image was weird.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which
Right.
someone could look at that other cover image and say it's perfectly fine,
Right.
but they
Exactly.
resonate with this. So that
Exactly.
was an example.
Yeah. Very good. Good example. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. See, listen, hey, first screen share on the Guiding Brands
We'll
podcast.
see in the
Okay.
post
Okay.
if
Now I'm gonna be
it
sharing
worked out.
screen. Now I'm gonna be sharing. Look out, people. Okay. All right. So relevancy is a big deal. You
Mhm.
don't wanna you want to make sure that your content or the material that you're sharing, the material that you're teaching, is relevant to the people that you're marketing it to, or maybe it's a piece of technology. Maybe you're really good at doing something for the last 10 years, but guess what? Maybe it's not everybody's doing that now. AI has introduced another method or something. How do we ensure that what we're offering is relevant, to not just the audience, but over time too, because things change.
Hmm. I will offer probably an answer that's not um what you might think.
Or
I
maybe I
would
could word let me rephrase it. So how
No,
can
I think you phrased
entrepreneurs
it fine, but you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can entrepreneurs ensure that their knowledge products, remain relevant and valuable over time? That's the question I actually had written down. So,
I say again, don't worry about it. Don't
mm,
worry about relevancy, because the question of relevancy could be the reason why you just don't start.
mm,
So many of us talk ourselves out of doing something because we think people aren't going to accept it, need it, want it. I contend that no matter what it is you're good at, someone wants to learn about it. Somebody
mm,
wants to hear it. It's relevant to someone. And even if a million people teach about this thing, there's something about the way that you teach
You
it,
deliver it. Mm-hmm.
the way that you, yeah, position it, your
Mm-hmm.
lived experience
Mm-hmm.
makes it relevant to enough people for it to be valuable,
Makes
for there to
sense.
be an exchange of value between the two of you. So it's so easy to talk yourself out of the relevancy piece of it, that I say don't worry about it. And over time, maybe certain things change and time changes, but also you change. And you may be inspired to update the information based on new knowledge that you've learned. That's
You've
why I
learned.
think knowledge commerce is so magical and special, is because it really is based on your internal knowledge. If you find that the times have changed, the technology has changed, the messaging has changed over time, likely you have learned that as well. And then you can update your knowledge
Update it.
commerce offering to include the new knowledge you've gained, because that's why they bought it in the first place, is because
Mm-hmm.
you and your lived experiences offered it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't necessarily worry about relevancy in and of itself.
Yeah, I think that the question that I wanted to ask earlier actually just came to me,
Resurfaced.
but it yeah resurfaced, but it was centered around value,
Mm-hmm.
and that this question or this your response to the question about relevancy also um, value has a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
What are you giving? It's not just about making the money, because
Mm-hmm.
if you just focus on that, you may not get the students that you want, the enrollments that you
Exactly.
want. But if you're giving people value, they can gain something, they can be better off,
Mm-hmm.
better at work, better at play, better at home, whatever it is that they're ultimately wanting from this, you got to be able to deliver on that, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Nicole, right now, I mean, AI is everywhere. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and probably even faster than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are some of the things that you're seeing happening in the knowledge commerce space, and how do you see this going forward? What are you seeing out
I
there?
see some pros and cons to the rapid pace of technology evolvement.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the pros are access to information, and ready access to information that you can use to support the development of your offering and development of your thing. You can even help generate some of the imagery, or help to figure out what kind of color should be a part of your brand, given what you're trying to evoke. Things like that, I think, is helpful, and those are some of the pros. And it does make embarking on some of these journeys a little less intimidating, because you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you can kind of learn a little bit more quickly
Mm-hmm.
around the terminology and things like that. The con of the rapid pace of technology changing is that oftentimes people are using it as a shortcut from actually doing the work,
Mm-hmm.
actually presenting an authentic solution, actually presenting authentic value. And that is a challenge for people who want to just make that quick buck off
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. Eventually, and usually relatively in a very short amount of time, you get caught and your credibility is shot and things like that. But also um, kind of a tangential impact of that is that you kind of put a bad name on all of the rest of the people who are in
Mm-hmm.
that market or in that
Mm-hmm.
space,
Mm-hmm.
so that people then don't trust any purveyors of knowledge on that type of topic. As a web designer, graphic designer, things like that, I've already got a lot of black marks on on the
Yeah.
credibility,
Yeah.
because it's
People
just like
trust
it's very difficult for people to come to you and want to accept the
you.
pricing that you offer, because I paid, X thousands of dollars to this other people and they didn't give me nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
need you to give me your services at a discount, and that is not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, um, and I have a heart to help and things like that. So that always gets me in trouble. But yeah, you've got to enter into this knowledge commerce space with authenticity,
Yep.
with willingness to do the work, to willingness to share your lived experience and kind of be vulnerable and allow people to see what it is that you are offering and
Yeah.
not short circuit or shortcut the actual value that you're bringing.
Yeah, I thought just came to me. I wrote it down this time so I didn't forget. You know, one of the pro to technology changing, or this just things evolving, is that you have an opportunity to present yourself to your existing audience, your
Hmm.
past students, as an expert, because
Yeah.
you're keeping up with this, you're staying on top of things, and you can actually provide that new knowledge out there. So,
Hmm.
so don't be intimidated by, things changing and you having to make the change. Hopefully you'd have done well, sold enough of these courses in seats that you can actually maintain the course, so
Exactly.
and that's an added value if you were to say, um, provide the access to updates for free,
Hmm.
for in
Hmm.
perpetuity or whatever.
Right.
You could have different levels of payment. Maybe you pay X amount of dollars to gain lifetime access, and you
Hmm.
you you pay um,
A
Y
lower
amount of
tier.
dollars to get limited access.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so there are all kinds of things that you can think about with this. So
Hmm.
cool, very cool. Nicole, this has been great, and great because you know what, you just woke me up because I need to do something. I need to do something. I
I got
really
some stuff
do.
to
I've
do.
been sitting. I have so much stuff going on in my head. I've been sitting on things for a long time, and
Hmm.
people, small businesses are my heart,
Hmm.
and I want to help.
Yeah.
So and this is one way that we can actually help is, in this way. So listen,
But let me say one thing before I
sure.
forget it. Um, I like to position it this way. When you think about a person whose life may change because of something that they hear from you and value that they get from you, every single day that you don't put it out there, that person is stuck where they
Hmm.
were. You are keeping that person stuck and those people stuck where they are because you won't release the value that you have stored up in you so that they can get some change in their life.
Okay,
So I
people.
think about that whenever I think about you are keeping a transformation from someone.
Okay,
Why are
Nicole's
you
talking to
doing
my
that?
contents here now, people. Okay,
Why are you leaving these people behind? Why are you leaving these people stuck?
I don't mean
That's
to.
not nice.
I don't mean to.
Well, do your thing. Go ahead, do your thing, girl. Whatever it is you're trying to
Uh,
do.
is there anything else that you want to share with the audience? In terms of, I'm going to ask you the final question.
Mhm.
Every guest on this podcast, I consider them a guide as well. This is the Guiding Brands
Yeah.
podcast. I'm the chief guide, and everybody, I have a bunch of minions now, my guides out there. So, what one solid piece of advice would you want to share with the audience? To wrap this up.
The solid piece of advice I would like to share with people is to get out of your own way. Everything is doable. Every effort, every goal is achievable. It's just about the method you choose to achieve it. So it's all doable, it's all achievable, it's all um, in your hands, it's all accessible to you.
Hmm.
And you just have to remove the limiting beliefs that you have and whatever stinking thinking that you have to get out of your own way in order to achieve it.
So you see, so she's not only a chemical engineer, a web designer, a marketer. a course creator. She's also part-time coach and psychologist.
Yes. I
We'll
have been accused of that.
just keep adding to the list.
Just
So,
keep at it.
okay. So, Nicole, you mentioned earlier that you have an offering that you want to share with the audience, if you don't
Yes.
mind.
With
Yes.
your audience specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is a done for you. It's called your DFY course outline template. So for those of you who are choosing to use an online course as your means for knowledge commerce, then I'm helping you with an outline of kind of a framework for you to put your course information in. So
Okay.
it can be provided in Notion, Asana, or Excel, whatever it is, just so you can organize your course, organize your lessons, organize the modules and things like that in a way that's very easy. It also comes with a 2 hour coaching and brainstorming session with me in person, one on one. And it will also, I'm looking at the screen so I
No
don't
problem.
miss anything.
Take your
A
time.
primer on how to use AI to generate course content, recording. We will record all of our sessions for your reference. And so this will help you take the intimidation out of building your next knowledge commerce gold mine. And I just want people to get it. So it's just kind of like a template, a framework, a done for you framework for you to build your whole course out, plus a 2 hour session with me where I kind of get some good information around, like, are you sure you don't want this, you want that, etc. And the template you can have, and the recordings you can have, and the primer on AI generation you can have
Okay. Awesome.
for a low price of $289.
Okay.
And I think that would be a great start for anyone who wants to join that journey. So the
Okay.
way that you can get this offering is to go to my website, digital-madesimple.com/DFY course.
All right. There you
All
have it.
right.
There you have it. And it'll be in the show notes. And is this going to be for a limited time, Nicole, or is
It will be for a limited time. I'm not sure how the limit, when I'm going to end the limit. Likely it'll
okay?
be, since we're talking to your audience.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't offered this offer to any other audience before or
Okay.
after. So just consume it
Okay.
until, you know,
Okay. All
you,
right.
you just
Yeah.
check back.
Okay, people, you heard it here first. Go, 289 and you get 2 hours of Nicole's time. That alone, this 289 just paid for that and then some. And then all a guidance on how to actually set up your course. So you'll get an outline, you'll learn how to make an outline of the course and put your modules together, all that good stuff. And guidance on where to actually launch it and things like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
awesome. All
And the
right.
AI generation primer.
And AI generation. Okay, there you go. This is gold. So Nicole, where else can people find you? Give me all of the places.
Yes,
LinkedIn,
so you can find
Instagram.
me on YouTube at Digital Made Simple LLC is my new YouTube channel. On most platforms, it's Digital Made Simple at Digital Made Simple. That's for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. In LinkedIn, I'm
Mhm.
LinkedIn/IN/Nikki's Art because
Okay. All right, Nikki's
chemical
art.
engineering was
Okay.
out.
All right. I will include all of those handles in the show notes, and people, take advantage of this. This is if you intend to create some extra revenue. We're right now we're talking in November 2024. The New Year is around the corner,
Hmm.
and a goal of yours is to earn some, extra revenue next year. Investing $289 to make 20,000 is a no-brainer. Even
Hmm.
2,000.
Hmm.
Nicole will help you with setting your goals up and pricing, probably help you with deciding on how to price the course, depending on what it is. So, I would highly recommend that you take advantage of this. And Nicole, thank you so much
Thank
again for
you.
for being here. This was fun, and we're gonna do this again. There's because
Yes.
you You do all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna come back for another piece of your brain.
I'm gonna spin the block. I'll spin the block for you on a different topic.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Guiding Brands podcast. Thank you again for joining us. And please leave a comment, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, and subscribe, and share. Please just tell everybody about this for me. A lot of people are learning from, the information that we share here. And we want the only way that they can know is if you actually subscribe, comment, and share. So thank
Yes.
you again. Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
joining us. All right.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of the Guiding Brands podcast. I look forward to sharing with you again next week. So please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Thank you and bye for now.